"Mama, Mama, he wants to kill me. Mama, he would not stop. He rides me like I'm a horse. I can't hold up with him." In a quiet village in the eastern part of Nigeria known as Umua, there lived a younger man named Malik. He became tall, good, and sturdy, the dream of each woman in the village. Malik had easy darkish pores and skin that glistened within the solar, and his muscle groups rippled with every step. His allure turned into unrivaled, and even the mothers within the village would glance at him with admiration while he handed by. But in spite of all of the admiration, Malik remained humble and focused. He turned into a virgin, raised by his bad mom Amina, who loved him greater than existence itself. Malik changed into her only child. His father had died when Amina became, nonetheless, pregnant with him, leaving her by myself to take care of the child. She poured all her love and power into elevating him the right manner, teaching him to admire girls and stay pure till his wedding ceremony nighttime. While Malik came of age, he knew it was time to marry. His eyes had been on a young lady named Keisha for quite a while. She changed into slim, darkish-skinned, and really pretty. Malik first noticed her one sunny afternoon whilst she became on her manner to the circulation to fetch water. The moment he laid eyes on her, he changed into captivated her sleek walk, her glowing skin. It changed into as though the universe had stopped for a moment simply to permit him to soak up her splendor. He swore that she might be his bride. And shortly sufficient, she changed into. Their wedding ceremony day was packed with joy, tune, and laughter. People from all over Umua got here to celebrate. The sound of drums echoed via the night, and the young males and females danced till their FT ached. But the proper pleasure got here whilst the festivities ended and Malik led Keisha into his hut for the primary time as his spouse. Malik, being a virgin, turned into eager to consummate his marriage. As Amina had informed him, it turned into his responsibility as a husband. However, because the nighttime went on, something extraordinary passed off. Just a few minutes into the nighttime, Keisha screamed and bolted out of the hut, her face light and her body shaking. "Mama, Mama, he wants to kill me, Mama," she cried out, her voice echoing through the village. Malik, pressured and alarmed, rushed after her, maintaining his groin area as if in ache. Amina, listening to her daughter-in-law scream, rushed out of her very own hut, her face marked with confusion. "Keisha, what's it?" Amina asked, her voice shaking with worry. Keisha, panting and out of breath, stammered, "Mama, he does not stop. He rides me like I am a horse. I cannot preserve up with him. His electricity is too much. I can't satisfy him. He is now not every day." Amina stood there, her face faded with embarrassment. Keisha threatened to move lower back to her father's residence. Amina, nonetheless, in shock, pleaded with her, assuring her that the whole lot might be frustrate, that Malik changed into just inexperienced and things could get better with time. Reluctantly, Keisha agreed to stay, but matters did not get higher. On every occasion, Malik and Keisha tried to be together, the equal factor occurred. Malik might never forestall, and Keisha changed into usually left an ache. It didn't take long before she couldn't take it anymore. One morning, she packed her baggage and returned to her father's house, leaving Malik heartbroken. The information unfolded like wildfire throughout Umua. Some of the women pitied Keisha, but maximum of them thought she was silly for leaving. A man like Malik, they whispered in the back of her, returned, announcing she wasn't sturdy enough to deal with him. A number of the younger ladies inside the village even joked that they could take care of Malik better than Keisha. Any such girls become Ayana, a tall, formidable, and delightful lady. Ayana had constantly renowned Malik from afar, and she noticed Keisha's departure as her golden possibility. She made it her challenge to win Malik's coronary heart and display him that she should give him precisely what he wanted. She flirted with him at every threat she got, throwing herself at him every time they crossed paths. Ultimately, Malik observed her, and before lengthy he married Ayana. On their wedding ceremony nighttime, the equal component occurred. Ayana, who had entered the wedding with self-belief and pleasure, quickly discovered herself screaming and going for walks out of the hut. "I cannot bear the warmth," she shouted, her face flushed with worry. "He is not normal. He by no means gets worn out." Ayana failed to even wait until morning. She packed her baggage that nighttime and went straight lower back to her father's house. Amina turned into terrified. She could not recognize what turned into incorrect together with her son. She had raised him well, taught him to be an excellent guy. However, now it appeared no lady ought to stay with him. In desperation, she took Malik to a neighborhood herbalist, hoping he might have answers. The herbalist examined Malik cautiously, shaking his gourd. After some moments, he gave them some herbs and confident them that the entirety turned into fine, that Malik changed into flawlessly healthful. Amina and Malik left the herbalist feeling relieved. However, deep down, Amina wasn't satisfied. Meanwhile, rumors about Malik's marriage problems unfold like wildfire through Umua. The ladies who had as soon as in demand him now saw him as a project. They whispered that maybe Keisha became too narrow for Malik, or that Ayana changed into too huge. Some believed they knew higher and could be capable of deal with him. Quickly Malik found himself surrounded by using ladies, all eager to attempt their success. Before everything, he resisted. However, finally, he saw it as an impossibility to locate the correct fit. He persevered, taking the herbs the herbalist had given him, thinking it would help. Within a few weeks, Malik had been with nearly all of the ladies inside the village, but whenever the identical factor befell, no female could manage him, and one after the other, they all left, a few in tears, others in fear. The village sooner or later reached a conclusion. Something turned into incorrect with Malik. Some whispered that he turned into cursed. The guys in the village believed that Malik wasn't ordinary and saved their distance from him. Malik, as soon as the village hero, turned into now a lonely outcast. Sooner or later, Amina may want to no longer endure the disgrace and sorrow. She decided to take Malik to an effective local physician in a neighboring village. The man, called Elijah, turned into feared and revered by using all who knew him. They believed he had the electricity to peer beyond the physical and into the spirit. International. While Malik and Amina arrived at Elijah's shrine, they have been greeted by the odor of incense and the remote sound of drumming. Elijah, an antique man with a protracted white beard, sat in the front of a fireplace, staring into the flames. After paying attention to their tale, Elijah let loose a deep chortle and stated, "You can't rob the gods." His voice changed into deep and filled with thriller. Amina turned into confused. "What do you suggest, smart one?" she asked, her voice trembling. Elijah became to Amina and stated, "Do you remember the promise you made to the deity whilst you have been seeking a child?" Amina's heart skipped a beat. She had forgotten. Years in the past, earlier than Malik become born, she and her husband were childless for decades. Determined for a child, they went to the deity and begged for a child. The priest of the shrine had promised them that they might have a son. However, on one circumstance, they should sacrifice 3 cows to the deity after the child changed into born. But before Amina should satisfy the promise, her husband died. She were left by myself and negative. And the promise had been forgotten. Elijah looked at Amina and stated, "The deity is angry. Malik is cursed because you probably did now not fulfill your promise. If you do no longer act soon, the gods will take his lifestyles." Amina's hands flew to her mouth. She became overwhelmed with guilt and fear. Elijah's words hit them like a ton of bricks. That they had no preference, however, to satisfy the promise. The next day, Amina offered certainly one of her portions of land, close to the Movementa land that have been in her circle of relatives for generations. With the money, they offered 3 cows and went to the shrine to provide the sacrifice. The shrine priest performed the ritual, and because the very last ritual became completed, a mild breeze swept via the shrine. "It's far completed," the priest stated, nodding in approval. "The gods have frequent your offering." After the sacrifice became made, Malik and Amina felt a deep sense of remedy. The curse, they believed, changed into eventually at the back of them. But the actual check turned into still ahead, finding a lady who might take delivery of him, love him, and stand via him. Malik turned into hesitant in the beginning. He had already been through a lot pain and rejection. He had watched each Keisha and Iona women he cared for run from him in fear. Amina, all the time the optimist, endorsed him. "My son," she stated softly, placing a hand on his shoulder. "The gods have forgiven us. You're loose now. Don't permit worry keep you again. Love will come to you." With his mother's phrases in his coronary heart, Malik determined to try again. He went lower back to Keisha and Ayana, hoping to mend what were broken. He apologized to them each, explaining what had caused the hassle of their marriages and assured them that the curse was lifted. But both women refused him, that they had already moved on from the concern and trauma that they had skilled, and neither was inclined to danger going through it again. Malik was beaten, but he understood. They deserved peace, and he wished them properly. Finding a wife in his personal village now regarded impossible. The women who had once pursued him were now remote. Malik felt like an outcast in his personal domestic, his once shiny future now shadowed by means of the beyond. Amina advised him now not to give up. Malik decided to search for love out of doors, his village. He traveled to a neighboring village, wherein he may want to begin again without the weight of the rumors. It changed into, in this village that he met, Zola. Zola become distinct from any lady Malik had ever regarded. She becomes strong-willed with a pointy thoughts and a type heart. Her beauty was plain, her skin turned into dark and smooth, like polished ebony, and her eyes sparkled with confidence. But what virtually drew Malik to her turned into her spirit. She became courageous, no longer one to be easily swayed by gossip or fear. While Malik first approached her, he turned into apprehensive. He had heard that the rumors approximately his beyond had reached her village too. He feared that Zola could turn him away before he even had a risk to explain himself. However, to his surprise, Zola failed to care approximately the tales. "I've heard the rumors," she stated, her eyes assembly his without delay, "but I don't live through what others say. I'd as an alternative see the reality for myself." Her phrases had been like a balm to Malik's wounded coronary heart. For the first time in what felt like for all time, he felt wish. They spent weeks, learning every other. Zola listened as Malik told her approximately the curse, the sacrifice, and all that he had persevered. She failed to recoil. In reality, her appreciation for him grew as she found out how much he had suffered in silence, wearing the load of a promise that wasn't even his very own. Whilst Malik, in the end, asked Zola to be his spouse, she smiled and stated sure. The wedding becomes smaller than his previous ones. However, it was filled with joy and love. Amina, seeing the happiness in her son's eyes, wiped away tears of pleasure. For the primary time in years, she felt that the whole lot changed into simply going to be all proper. Because the nighttime fell and the visitors began to depart, Malik and Zola entered their hut for the first time as husband and spouse. Malik's coronary heart raced. This was the instant he had feared for so long, the instant wherein everything had usually long passed wrong. He became afraid that the curse may nevertheless linger no matter the sacrifices. He looked at Zola, who smiled again at him with reassuring eyes. "Don't be afraid," she whispered, sensing his hesitation. The night time went by using peacefully. For the primary time, Malik felt what true love and connection could be like. And Zola did not scream, failed to run away, and did not worry him. Rather, she embraced him, and that they each discovered pleasure in every other. Malik had never felt such comfort, such happiness. By the time morning light filtered into their hut, both Malik and Zola knew they'd something unique. The curse had definitely been lifted, and Malik was in the end unifaced in. Word spread speedy that Malik had observed a wife who stayed. The girls in Umua had been in surprise. How may want to Zola, after hearing all the rumors, live on a night time with Malik? A lot of them whispered that she should have some mystery, a few special electricity that allowed her to do what no other female could. The village girls, once keen to have Malik for themselves, had been now packed with interest and jealousy. They collected round Zola each time she visited the market, asking her questions and seeking to determine out what had befell. And Zola might handest smile and say, "Love isn't always a competition. I universal him for who he is, and he widespread me, that is all." Her phrases left the girls speechless. They realized then that it wasn't approximately who may want to manage Malik, but about finding a person who genuinely loved him. Malik and Zola have become an example of love and patience in the village. Over time, the rumors approximately Malik dwindled, replaced by testimonies of his glad marriage. Collectively, Malik and Zola had numerous youngsters, each one bringing greater joy into their domestic. Malik, once the lonely outcast, become now a proud father, a loving husband, and a reputable man in Umua. Amina remained grateful for the rest of her lifestyles. Every morning, she could wake up and thank the gods for sparing her son. She never forgot the promise they had damaged, and she or he often informed the tale to her grandchildren, reminding them that a promise to the gods should in no way be taken lightly. As she grew older, Amina watched her son's own family grow, her heart swelling with pride. Malik had grown to be the whole lot she had ever dreamed he could be an awesome man, a devoted husband, and a loving father. And although her journey with the gods were full of pain and loss, she became grateful that they had proven mercy in the end. The moral lesson of this tale is that promises made, especially to deities, must be fulfilled. An authentic love, based totally on acceptance and information, can overcome beyond hardships and societal judgments. The Stop. That is an African romance folktale. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this very fascinating story. Recollect, to like, percentage, subscribe, and activate the bell icon to be able to be notified every time we add a brand new video. Finally, inform me what you learned on this tale, and additionally inform me wherein you are looking this video from. And, do nicely to rate this tale on a scale of 1 to 10. I'm going to look you in every other video. Bye.